Um, First of all, I have an image for you, and what I saw was, first of all, there's this person underwater, and I don't know if it's a mermaid or somebody just underwater, but she looks like she has scales on her, and I see her breaking through to the surface of the water, and as she emerges from the surface, she was gasping for air, gasping for air. So what I got from this was that I feel like some of you were living in a situation where you felt a little bit outside of your element. The water deals with emotions, it deals with deep rooted security oriented issues. And I feel for many of you, there might have been a situation you were in where it felt a little bit restrictive, it felt confining, and it just felt like you didn't really belong. And I feel like for some of you, this might be a work situation where um, you feel like a sense of disconnect when it comes to the people around you. It's almost like they didn't really understand that you're just there to go through the motions. And I also feel like there's a sense of disconnectedness when it comes to being able to feel at ease or feel that sense of camaraderie with the people around you. I also feel as if many of you, you go through a lot of things. You have a lot of things on your plate, a lot of things that you're taking care of. And so you have a lot of responsibilities, and you guys are definitely not whiners. You guys don't complain. You guys don't sit there and sulk about your predicament. You put on a happy face and you move forward. You keep moving. And in a way, everything that you see yourself having to deal with, having to take care of, it's like situations you find yourself in. I almost feel like the universe gives you a lot of responsibilities because you're able to handle it. But from your perspective, it's almost like, why are all these things kind of, dropped on me? And then when you go out and with your friends or with colleagues or with coworkers or even your significant other, you put on a brave, happy face, but you also feel as if the conversations, if the other person is like talking about, their daily events, what they're doing, what they're buying, what they're getting at the grocery store, what they're doing on the weekends, you hear what they're saying, but you almost feel like you can't really relate to their mundane life, mainly because of everything else that you're dealing with. So, yes, you can sit there and have these superficial conversations, but then at the end of the day, it's kind of like, rolls off the duck's back, like water off the duck's back. It doesn't penetrate. And I also feel like it doesn't really have any bearing on you. And you feel this sense of emotional disconnectedness from the people around you. So, this element about gasping for air, I almost feel like many of you are feeling emotions very, very, very deeply for somebody. It might be in a way where it's new, like the situation is new. And I almost feel like there's third parties involved here. So you could be the one in a relationship and there's somebody else in your life that you are really, really falling for. And then I feel like for others of you, you might be the single person and you're falling for somebody who has recently gotten out of a really bad relationship, or they're still heavily involved with another person. And I see you going out on a limb to make an offer to this person, in a way where you care about them, you want them to be okay, and you feel like if they're in a bad relationship, they should be with me. I can take care of them. I can make the situation better. But the swirl of emotions, it feels almost overwhelming to me. It's almost like your heart. It's hard to breathe. It's hard to express it, and you feel it so deeply. But there are some barriers between you and that other person that's preventing you from expressing how you feel. For some of you, they have reached out to you, and for whatever reason, I just feel like you're not really responding because of the weight of your emotions. And so they're already thinking, worst case scenarios. They're already thinking, oh, the Capricorn person is avoiding me. But I also feel like you have a lot of things on your plate. And so you're trying to do things when you're ready. You're trying to, find that time when you're ready to reach out. You're trying to find that inner balance in yourself. I will do it when the time is right, or I will do it when I feel a little bit more settled. So there's a lot of things I feel like you're putting on the back burner because you're not prepared to deal with them just yet. And I also feel you will be going out on a limb to express how you feel to another person because once again, you don't want to be, you don't want the weight of the emotions to kind of crush down on you. You want to break free to the surface of the water where you can breathe, where you can see the light, where you can express how you feel. For some of you, I also feel like there's some disappointment in love relationships. It's almost like finding out somebody's in a relationship. Somebody that you care for, somebody that you really like, they're in a relationship. And although the feelings are reciprocated, although they like you too, I feel like they're choosing the other person or they're going forward with the other person. And so there's a sense here about somebody going out on a limb, expressing themselves as somebody that actually has reciprocal feelings, but the relationship is not getting off the ground because they might be with somebody else. I'm also feeling as well, there's a space here. There's a space here where it seems like somebody's underwater, dealing with a lot of emotions, putting on a brave face, trying to kind of like forge ahead on their own, You guys are really strong, and I feel like stoic and self-sufficient. And so you don't like to bare your soul and have somebody see you in a state of vulnerability or what you perceive to be weakness. You want to, do it on your own. You want to test your capabilities. And so while you're simmering with all of these emotions, on the surface, everything looks very calm, very tranquil. And so my advice for you is honestly release this emotion. Find an outlet for it. You don't have to tell everybody your business, but you should have, a few confidants that you can relay this information to, that you can kind of unburden yourself. I'm feeling mainly because it feels to me like it's hard to breathe, and it feels to me like there needs to be an outlet for it. There's a lot of preparation here to be done. And I'm almost feeling like many of you are embarking on something brand new. You're scoping out opportunities, okay? So we have here the Ace of Swords. This is like looking at an opportunity, feeling like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for me. I should go for it. And it's still in the implementation stages. It's still like the emergence of a new idea. So nothing is being laid out. The foundation is not laid out just yet. I see for many of you, you're trying to take a course. So for example, if you are thinking about nursing, you're doing research and you're just like, this is something I really, really want to do. And not only, because there's material gains to be had, but also because you enjoy it. So you're contemplating and you're also doing the research. How much is, the entire course going to take or going to cost? And so you're trying to save up and you're trying to pay something, I feel like, in quarterly or monthly installments so that you can make this dream a reality. And there's a lot of trepidation from your end about the initial investment, about the sunk cost. So I feel like you're heavily thinking about it. You've already done your research and you're just like, I'm going to start, taking this course. And I know it's really, really expensive. And so I just need to make sure I'm doing the right choice. I'm making the right choice. So there's that element coming in about needing to pay for something very, very expensive, but it's also skills building. So I see people doing a lot of research, and I know you guys are very, very methodical in everything that you do, and especially if there are finances involved, you're going to do your research to make sure you're getting the best deal. You're going to do your research to make sure that you are that you know the ins and out before you sign a contract, which is great. The only thing that I want you to be careful about is if space is limited, if there's a deadline, if there are like quotas or limitations on the maximum capacity, you want to make sure you don't wait too long before you execute. Does that make sense? So it's like if they're only accepting 30 students, you need to make sure you get your name in there first. Okay? Look more into refund policies. So then sign up first and then maybe back out later. Because I feel like there's a space limitation and then you might miss your boat. So that's something you want to be careful about. So I'm seeing people signing up for courses, real estate too, for some of you, loans, mortgage, real estate, and then I'm also seeing nursing classes. I'm also seeing like some type of a skills building class that will really enhance your marketability on the work front. I'm seeing people returning back to a situation that they were trying at before. This can be a relationship. This can be something that failed in the past, okay? Like a relationship that failed in the past, or a situation where you're redoing something that has failed in the past. And I'm also feeling like many of you are trying to figure out a strategy. It's like, why didn't it work before, and what can I do to make it better? And on the relationship front, you're realizing it didn't work before because maybe the other person was starting to emotionally check out. And so if I go back into this situation, I have to give it my all. I have to, go out on a limb and let them know how I feel and just give it my all. And I feel like this is kind of like one last try, one more chance, but it's pretty much one last chance. And I'm sensing like the other person might not be 100% invested, okay? And if you're starting to see signs of that, I feel like it's better to release them because they're not giving you enough. And I'm also feeling as if you're going back to to something that didn't work out before, you're very excited and very anxious about restarting it. But I feel like whatever reason why it failed the previous time has not been fully flushed out or fully resolved. And so going back into it this time around, you have to do things very differently. And you are aware of that. You are aware of that. But I'm sensing that it's kind of hard for you guys right now with this situation to think outside the box and to figure out how can I do it differently. And I feel like for many of you, it's sort of like, going from the water to the air, okay? It has less to do with the emotions, but more to do with the mental capacity. So, for example, you have your heart set on being a historian, okay? Like you want to study history, you want to study language arts, you want to study, I don't know, things that are a little bit more liberal arts oriented, but you're innately very, 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 very good with the STEM subjects, math, science, technology, and things like that. And so it has a lot more to do with the mental gifts and the mental capacity rather than what you truly, truly want. And so if this is something that you truly, truly want, you have to kind of redo or rewire or restructure the way that you work. Okay, so if you're thinking in terms of, more logic, if your mind is a little bit more like an engineer, then you have to take that extra step in order to make your mind a little bit more liberal arts oriented. Does that make sense? That's the best like way that I could explain this. So it's about retraining your brain, looking at a situation differently. And I also feel as well, there's a huge amount of practicality that needs to be thought of when we embark on this new venture. I see a lot of good news coming into the picture for those of you that are students. I see as well, like money coming in, like financial aid, scholarships for many of you, internships, like paid internships. And then I'm also sensing as well, they're saying like news coming from far away. I have here the Page of Wands, and I have this bird carrying a letter. So very, very good news coming into the picture. And what I'm seeing as well is it seems though that if you have been trying to figure out, how am I going to be able to pay for this, where's the money going to come from, how much do I have to pay, there's something coming in that will alleviate the situation. Because whenever we do things that are for self-improvement, self-investments, the universe will always help us find a way. So there's something coming in that is going to be able to help you be able to afford this. Some of you are getting bonuses. Some of you are getting scholarships. Some of you are getting some type of a loan or even a grant. Okay, so I feel like things are going to be able to get off the ground. Okay, don't worry too much. What I feel though is this spread is very, very relationship oriented, and I feel like that's one of the things one of the areas where I feel like you guys are struggling. And you have a very small inner circle, and a lot of it, the people within that inner circle are usually family, or people you consider family. If you have a really long history with somebody, you consider them family. But I feel like a very small support network. And the people within that support network have usually flocked to you for advice, for counsel, for a shoulder to lean on, for the stability that you provide. And so switching roles, where you are the one that's vulnerable, where you have things that you want to unload, where you want to ask for their advice, it's a little bit hard too. Because if we, get pigeonholed into a specific role, and that's what others see us, it's really hard for the role reversal. And so I feel as if yes, you have people that you trust and people that you love, but in terms of you opening up, being vulnerable, and telling people, hey, I've got a lot of things on my plate, I need somebody to talk to, I need help, or even I need somebody to talk to, I need somebody to ask, get advice from. It's really hard for you to approach the people around you. And so they don't have to be the people in your inner circle. They can be people outside of it. Because as long as they can give you good advice, it's important to take their advice, okay? There's the person that you're dealing with, I'm seeing, and this is more like, on the romantic front. I keep seeing like somebody comes to you when they're brokenhearted. You pick them up, you put together the pieces, and then they never express their appreciation, or they never express, how they feel. But I feel like they come to you when they're broken, and they leave you when they're whole. So you're playing a little bit of a you're playing a little bit of a fixer. You're fixing this person's problems. And then as soon as they're healed up, as soon as they're done, they're out of the picture. Don't let yourself be used, okay? And don't let yourself settle for second best. Because I feel like this person, they're very, very confused. They're very relationship oriented. I'm actually getting a very strong Piscean energy. Somebody who's like very relationship oriented. They lose themselves in relationships, and then when their relationship partner is no longer in the picture, they have trouble finding themselves, so they're kind of wobbly. And then emotionally, they're very up and down when they're alone. They come to you, and then you fix them, and then they go back to, that bad relationship, or they go off somewhere else to their next relationship, to their next destination. So there's that element in here. And I just don't feel like it's entirely healthy. And I feel that, don't enable this energy, okay? You're not meant to be fixing other people. I feel like you have things in your life that you need to focus on, and you need to kind of fix on your own or with other people's helps. You're not at a point right now, especially for this week, where you can fix other people. There are a lot of long-term goals that you need to get moving on. Long-term goals means things that we have to do. It might start out in a very, very slow progression, but over time, it is going to greatly enhance your income generating potential, or your marketability, or your potential overall in everything that you do. And some of you are aware of what you need to do. There's going to be this fire lit up from under you, where you're going to feel like, I have to do it. No more delays, no more, saving it for another day, no more procrastination, I have to do it. And this has been, we really can't, delay this anymore. We need to get moving, because this is long-term growth. It has long-term growth potential, and you need to just, go out on a limb and do that, okay? So the energy I'm getting incessantly is just, going out on a limb, doing something, getting things started. I feel for many of you, schooling. I feel for many of you taking like some type of a course to get a certificate, to be certified in something. And I feel like there's money associated with it, meaning, there's a big financial payout that you have to anticipate, and you are aware of it. And I feel like there's a lot of hesitation too, because it's like, I'm putting in a lot of money, and it takes such a long time for it to pay out. Is it worth it? It is worth it. It's going to be worth it. But you have to kind of jump into it 100%. You have to do it 100%. You can't half-heartedly do it and expect to have a good outcome. So train your mind. You're all in or you're all out. You can't live, half out of the water, half in the water, straddling both worlds and doing anything successfully, okay? You are a land creature, so get out of that water and just, start living your life, start moving forward, and get yourself grounded, okay? So I hope the reading is not too preachy. I just feel like there are a lot of inner conflicts overall. It's not other people bringing you problems. It's more like you're conflicted with the direction that you want to take, and you're conflicted with what you want to do. Your heart says one thing, your mind says another. Getting yourself back to your element is going to really help with, the decision-making process. And I also feel like, don't wait too long. You're going to miss out on an opportunity, okay? Capricorns, I hope the reading is helpful for you. I do wish you all the best, okay? And take care of yourself. I'll see you in about a week or so. Bye-bye.